What's the most messed up situation you had to handle alone? I was 19, living in this rundown apartment complex where the landlord basically ignored everything. My apartment was on the second floor, and the whole building was falling apart. Broken elevators, busted mailboxes, you name it. It was around midnight on a Tuesday. I was finishing up some paper for my English class when I smelled something weird. At first I thought it was my laptop charger overheating or something, but then I noticed this thin smoke coming under my door from the hallway. I opened my door and immediately started coughing. The smoke was getting thicker, and I could see orange light coming from down the hall. One of the apartments was on fire. I ran to the fire alarm on the wall and pulled it as hard as I could. Nothing happened. The stupid thing was broken. I tried calling the front office, but nobody answered. It was past midnight and my phone was dead because I forgot to charge it earlier. This old building didn't have any emergency systems that worked. I started banging on doors, yelling for people to wake up. Most people ignored me or thought I was some drunk kid causing trouble. The fire was spreading fast and the heat was getting intense. I could barely breathe. I ran back to my apartment, grabbed my portable charger, and plugged in my phone while holding a wet towel over my mouth. As soon as it turned on, I called 911. They said firefighters were coming, but I had to get people out before the stairwell got blocked. I started kicking doors harder, screaming that there was a fire. Some neighbors finally started answering. There was this elderly woman, Mrs. Garcia, who lived 2 doors down from the fire. She was trapped because her smoke alarm wasn't working and she had no idea what was happening. The smoke was filling her room and she could barely walk. I grabbed her under her arm and dragged her down the hall while we both coughed our lungs out. Then I remembered the Rodriguez family. They had 2 little kids and lived right next to the apartment that was burning. I couldn't hear anything through their door. The heat was almost unbearable, but I didn't think twice. I kicked their door open. The parents were passed out on the couch from smoke inhalation. Their 2 kids, maybe 4 and 6 years old, were screaming in the corner of the living room. I grabbed both kids and ran down the stairs as fast as I could. I handed them to a neighbor who was already outside, then sprinted back up for the parents. The dad was heavier than I thought. I had to drag him by his arms while the smoke burned my throat. I got him halfway down the stairs when the firefighters finally showed up. They took over and carried him the rest of the way. I went back for the mom, but they wouldn't let me. They had to get her out with oxygen masks. I sat in the ambulance getting treated for smoke inhalation, covered in soot and ash. The whole second floor was engulfed by then. The paramedic said if I hadn't gotten everyone out when I did, people would have died. Here's the messed up part. A few days later, the building owner, Mr. Bennett, tried to blame me for overreacting. He said I damaged property by kicking in doors and threatened to charge me for repairs. He acted like I was some troublemaker instead of someone who saved lives. Several neighbors had to step up and tell him he was insane. The fire department backed me up too. Bennett never apologized. He just wanted to cover his ass because his building was a death trap with broken safety equipment. I moved out 2 weeks later.